Hey, happy Monday. Today is May 23rd, 2022. We're looking at a 2000 tick chart for the E-mini S&P 500 futures market. 21 EMA here in blue, 9 EMA in cyan, and 200 EMA in magenta. We have a MACD indicator here at the bottom. We use technical analysis, price action, overall market context in order to place our trades. Take a second, real quick. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you know exactly when I post these videos. I appreciate everyone that's been watching these videos and that have been finding them beneficial. Let's get right into it for today. Now, I want to be honest, today was a very tricky day. I wasn't able to trade as soon as the market opened. I had some things I had to do. I had some errands I had to run this morning. This weekend was very busy for me. I really only managed to get one trade in, but I still saw some potential setups in the morning, some aggressive trades. We saw a lot of prices kind of moving up and down in congestion, a lot of consolidation, overall trading range. But we're just going to get right into it for today. We'll go over the trades and hopefully we'll see something better tomorrow. So as we normally do on this channel, we mark our level of resistance here at overnight highs, level of support down here at overnight lows. We had this channel of prices that are moving down. Prices couldn't reach back to the highs after we had this break of the short-term channel move to a new low. And I actually think I don't know how this channel got messed up, but once we couldn't make it back to the highs, we're just starting to trend down low. So the bias at least right now is short. We have this new swing up here with a first entry long looking for a second entry long to trigger, and then you could potentially take a failure catching stops, but I marked it as aggressive. You'd be going short directly into the 200 EMA. What I did like was the MACD was showing a little bit of a crossover here, change in momentum. So prices ticked up, and then as they reverse, you're catching stops, writing it down for a scalp. Now this scalp did work out if you're going for 2 points. But again, slightly aggressive. I wouldn't really be interested in trading something like that. But as you're entering one tick below the signal bar, your stop would be going one tick above the bar that you entered on here, and you would have been fine. Now, we didn't have this uptrend here in play yet, but after you have this break, you're potentially looking for a new low of these channels that are trending down. But as 200 EMA continues to come up and we have all this bullish momentum here in the MACD, we have to be hesitant about finding shorts. We have this new low down here. First entry short, prices come up. Second entry short if there's a trigger below this bar, and there is. So you could have an entry order looking to catch stops one tick above this signal bar right here. But what I noticed happen is we had a second entry long that set up with a swing high here, first entry long, second entry long. Prices came up to get those people into their trade, second entry long. Then it came back and stopped them out. Once a trade happened here, it started to get really congested. Pull your entry order. Don't keep your order in the market hoping that prices are going to come back up, fill you, and you're going to get a scalp, because you're starting to see a lot of congestion here. So I wanted to talk about that one. But yeah, you just have to be careful. Don't look at trying to trade something like that. Now, if you did keep your entry order here and you had your stop loss one tick below this signal bar, prices would have gotten you into the trade, would have reversed, and you would have gotten stopped out. Now, this is probably the highlight trade of the day. As prices continue up, we're anticipating for prices to reach back to the overnight highs. They nearly make a double top with the prices over here before reversing, pushing back down below EMA. So we're starting the count at the top of the swing here. Prices come down, come up for a first entry long, and as prices continue down, second entry long, we're looking to trade a failure. Why? Because prices are pushing now below EMA. We have 9 EMA, 21 EMA crossover right here. MACD is showing bearish momentum. We're anticipating for prices to push back down to the bottom of the range. And so we're looking to catch stops to go short. We're looking for a reason to go short. Now, as the next bar prints, prices came up, and as they reversed, your entry order will go one tick below this signal bar. Once you're in this trade, you're moving your stop loss one tick above this bar. At least that's how I'm personally doing my risk management. I don't want to put my stop over the swing of this bar right here. I want to try and minimize that risk. The trade is either going to work out right away or it's not. Prices stall for just a second before pushing down, and as prices come down, you're going to get your scalp filled for 2 points if that's what you're going for. As soon as you get that scalp filled, you're moving your stop loss to break even so you can't lose money. If you play it right, prices are going to continue to fall. And if you manage this runner well, where do we anticipate prices to go? As we just said, to the bottom of this trading range. You could easily capitalize on a nearly 7-point move off one contract. You can see prices kind of fight here as they cross the 200 EMA, but it doesn't last long. So I love that trade. I wish I was here in the market to trade it, but I really see that as a highlight trade. So we have this short-term trend that's working down to the bottom of this range. And as we're coming up, we have to make sure to draw our short-term trend lines. We have this new low right here. Prices come up for a first entry short. Prices came up above EMA. Then we had a close below EMA, second entry short if prices trigger below this bar. You get a nice second entry short trigger. Potentially you could take a lower high here, but I'd be a little bit hesitant because you're getting close to these overnight lows. But if you enter on this bar, you're going to get out for a scalp. If you enter on this bar here, which I could actually, let me mark that lower high trade. And why is that? Because we had a short-term trend working up with a break, move to a new high. Prices push down below EMA, come up one more time. Prices are respecting the EMA as we continue back down. The only hesitancy obviously I had about marking these trades is the MACD. You start to see this MACD cross over into more bullish momentum. We just have to be very cautious and careful about taking a trade like this. But I'm marking it for people that don't use the MACD, and if you're trading price action, that's a pretty clean setup. So we had that break, attempt at a new low before prices push back up above EMA. We have a new swing here. First entry short. Prices come up for a second entry short here if it triggers, and you could look at potentially catching stops one tick above this signal bar. But as you see here, prices continue to congest just a little bit, and if you look down at the MACD, we're starting to lose a little bit of that bullish momentum. This 200 EMA is starting to flatten out just a little bit, so you have to be very cautious about trading here. As we get more price action, that bullish momentum dies. We get that crossover into bearish momentum, and now we can kind of see prices are starting to range a little bit. Now with this bigger channel here at play that I have drawn in, you could potentially draw that around here once you have prices kind of swing down here, respecting the 200 EMA. If I can select it there, yep. But it's still a little bit early. That's a tentative channel that you can draw. Prices break out of this trading range that we have in play. New swing down here, first entry short. Prices come up for a second entry short. So people are trying to go short here. Got a lot of bullish momentum. If you're looking to catch stops, you're entering one tick above the signal bar. This bar prints, you would have been in this trade, and prices came up 7 ticks instead of 8. So you would have lost out on this trade if you took it. Now I personally like the setup for this. You know, I guess if you had this channel in here or this bigger channel in here early enough, you could potentially call it aggressive because you'd be trading into the highs. Or maybe you have some sort of automated strategy that puts your trade at break even once prices reach 6 ticks or 7 ticks. So depending on how you manage your risk, you might have came out break even and you would have been okay, but that's how I read that play right there. Prices continue to oscillate up and down. You can see the EMA starting to flatten out as prices are oscillating. Very hard to trade any of this. Really not looking to take any trades here. But prices came down and gave us a third touch of this channel. So once prices break, we are looking for prices to make a new high. Additionally, we never had prices come up to test these overnight highs again. So we are still anticipating for prices to come up and touch this level of resistance. Prices are respecting the 200 EMAs. They're coming down. You can see we had quite a bit of congestion here. A lot of overlapping bars. Again, just very tricky to trade. But we have a loss of bearish momentum here as we have a MACD crossover. So we are looking for prices to continue up again to touch this level of resistance here at the top. It doesn't make sense to start your count here because your counts are going to be in congestion. You have this new swing low, first entry short, second entry lower, but all of this is congested. The way I played it was I started my count off this swing here. Prices came up and down for a first entry short, and as they came up, you could potentially get a second entry short trigger here, and you do. And when that happens, you're putting your entry order one tick above where everyone has their stops because people are trying to go short. They think, okay, we have enough room to the EMA. I'm going to go short here, get a nice scalp. But when you look at the MACD, you're seeing a change in momentum. 9 EMAs crossed over the 21 EMA as well. I had my entry order one tick above this signal bar. As prices came up, I was in and out of the trade for a scalp. And prices go exactly where we think they're going to go up to test these overnight highs. Beta congestion, again, we get a third, potentially a fourth touch here of this channel. So prices continue upwards here. I'm restarting my count here off the 21 EMA. First entry short, second entry short. So I had an entry order in place one tick above this signal bar. I liked that we had this minimal bearish momentum that crossed over into more bullish momentum. So I thought, okay, we could continue going higher. But eventually I pulled my order. We get that close below the 9 EMA. We're starting to get overlapping bars, crossover of MACD. I wasn't interested in trading that anymore. And that's what I marked here, MACD crossover. This is another thing that the MACD can help with. You have this channel that's working up. We have a break of this channel, and you could say, okay, we're going to be looking for a new high. We count from the swing, come down and up for a first entry long, second entry long above this bar. Terrible signal bar, but some people might try trading that as a second entry long. You'd be in this trade, and it came back and would have stopped you out. And by looking at the MACD and seeing how that crossover happens, that would keep you out of a nasty trade like that. As prices approach 10:30 a.m. Central Time, this is my last trade for the day. Prices are consolidating, overlapping bars. So I'm starting my count right here off where the move kind of starts to happen. So this is my swing low. Prices come up and down for a first entry short. prices come up, down for a second entry short that triggers below this bar. So you have an option here. You can either enter one tick above this bar because that's where the second entry short triggered, or if you really want to play it a little bit safer, you wait for this bar to print. Prices come down, that second entry short can trigger on this bar right here, and then you would put your entry order one tick above this signal bar. Now, what I noticed is throughout the day, we had all of these bits of choppiness. You can very clearly see them all around. And so I really wanted to be in and out of this trade as quickly as possible. So I entered on this bar here. I entered one tick above as prices came in. I was in this trade and very quickly got that scalp. And I had a runner in play and I really should have closed it early, but I had faith that we were just going to continue going higher. That wasn't the case. Again, as we had been seeing all day, prices begin to chop up and down a bit. So I'm happy I got that scalp. I got in and out of that trade quick. And that's really where I finished trading for today. Now you can see as prices continue to print, and we have to acknowledge, hindsight's always 2020, but it's kind of clear to see we do have this uptrend at play here. We have this new swing low as prices come up for a first entry short, up and down for a second entry short. So if you want to enter, entry order is going to go one tick above where everyone has their stops. So if you had your entry order one tick above, prices would have reversed, came back up, got you in and out of the trade for a scalp. And so that could have been a trade that you take. Additionally, you see MACD has that crossover from bearish to bullish momentum. So it logically makes sense. Separation between 9 and 21 EMA. So there's another trade that could have happened, but I was recording the video, so obviously I couldn't see that trade play out. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Again, very tricky day, but I hope that you guys stayed patient and that you guys came out successful today. Tomorrow's going to be another trading day. Plan on posting another video tomorrow. Over the weekend, we just hit over 500 subscribers. That's seriously so amazing. Again, I thank you all for your support. And until next time, thanks for watching.